lot of people were expecting this out of nowhere, introducing DualSense, the new wireless game controller for PlayStation 5, as detailed on the PlayStation blog. Yeah, I don't think any of us were expecting a drop like this today, but it just happened, and I do want to take you guys through the PlayStation blog post, and there's a lot of information there from Hideaki Nishino, who is the Senior Vice President Platform Planning and Management over at Sony. The blog post reads, "We've reached an exciting milestone with PlayStation 5 as we're starting to ship our new controller in its final design to developers who are implementing its unique features into their games. But first, we wanted everyone in the PlayStation community to get a first look at the DualSense wireless controller and hear our vision for how the new controller will captivate more of your senses as you interact with the virtual worlds in PlayStation 5 games. The features of DualSense, along with PS5's Tempest 3D audio tech, will deliver a new feeling of immersion to players. When PlayStation 4 launched in 2013, the DualShock 4 wireless controller garnered a lot of positive feedback from gamers and developers for being the best PlayStation controller yet, and for introducing forward-looking features like the share button. This brought us the next question: how do we build upon that success? After thoughtful consideration, we decided to keep much of what gamers love about DualShock 4 intact, while also adding new functionality and refining the design. Based on our discussions with developers, we concluded that the sense of touch within gameplay, much like audio, hasn't been a big focus for many gamers. We had a great opportunity with PlayStation 5 to innovate by offering game creators the ability to explore how they can heighten that feeling of immersion through our new controller. This is why we adopted haptic feedback, which adds a variety of powerful sensations you'll feel when you play, such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud. We also incorporated adaptive triggers into the L2 and R2 buttons of DualSense, so you can truly feel the tension of your actions, like when drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. This provided us with an exciting challenge to design a new controller that builds off of the current generation while taking into account the new features we were adding. For example, with adaptive triggers, we had to consider how the components would fit into the hardware without giving it a bulky feeling. Our design team worked closely with our hardware engineers to place the triggers. The designers were able to draw the lines of how the exterior of the controller would look and feel, with the challenge of making the controller feel smaller than it really is. In the end, we changed the angle of the hand triggers and also made some subtle updates to the grip. We also took thoughtful consideration in ways to maintain a strong battery life for DualSense rechargeable battery and to lessen the weight of the controller as much as possible with the new features that were added. Obviously, with all of these features being added, the weight is going to increase, but it looks like they minimalized that to the best of their abilities. For the buttons, you'll notice there is no longer a share button as we had with DualShock 4. Don't worry, it's not going away. In fact, we've built upon the successes of our industry for share button to bring you a new create button feature. With Create, we're once again pioneering new ways for players to create epic gameplay content to share with the world or just enjoy for themselves. We'll have more details on this feature as we get closer to launch. DualSense also adds a built-in microphone array, which will enable players to easily chat with friends without a headset, ideal for jumping into a quick conversation. But of course, if you're planning to chat for a longer period, it's good to have the headset handy. Now let's talk about the colors. Traditionally, our base controllers have a single color. As you can see, we went with a different direction this time and decided on a two-tone design. Additionally, we changed the position of the light bar. That will give it an extra pop. On DualShock 4, it sat on the top of the controller. Now it sits at each side of the touchpad, giving it a slightly larger look and feel. In all, we went through several concepts and hundreds of mock-ups over the last few years before we settled on this final design. DualSense has been tested by a wide range of gamers with a variety of hand size in order for us to achieve the comfort level we wanted with great ergonomics. Our goal with DualSense to give gamers the feeling of being transported into the game world as soon as they open the box. We want gamers to feel like the controller is an extension of themselves when they're playing, so much so that they forget that it's even in their hands. We're thrilled about sharing the final look of the DualSense controller with our fans, and we can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it. I'd like to close with a message from Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Jim Ryan to the community. So this is what Jim Ryan said about the controller, noting, "DualSense marks a radical departure from our previous controller offerings and captures just how strongly we feel about making a generational leap with PlayStation